and maybe some Nidan and Sandan stuff. Okay, so we're live streaming, which is great. So I'm going to wave to everybody on YouTube. Hi, everybody. My name is Sensei Mitch. I'm with Budo Association. We teach online. We're a Japanese, not-for-profit Japanese sword school here in New York City. We study and teach Rushin Shochiryu, Kenjutsu, and Iaido. Our teacher is Yahage Sensei in Tokyo. And we train online. So this is one of our online classes. We hope you enjoy it. Give us a subscribe, a like. You can share it with your friends, all good. If you want to train with us, you can train with us online at patreon.com/NYBA. And we'll teach you how to use a Japanese sword. So we hope you enjoy the class. This is a little different system than others. We don't have saibiki, and we don't throw the tip out, making the big circle. We cut with our bodies using a concept called in and yo, opening and closing our chests, and using our back muscles. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it, and give us a like and a subscribe. Tell us what you think. We have Dimitri and Oleg here today. I'm going to start recording. We're going to ray in and maybe let's give it 2 more minutes. And let me just go on to here and just make sure that maybe it's not. I don't know. I thought it was, but maybe it's not live streaming. Oh. Okay. So, hey, Oleg.
Hi, Sensei. Excuse me.
Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
I vision only.
You're gonna watch only? Okay, no problem.
Watch.
Yeah, okay. No problem. I'll just do a demonstration, then I'll do my own class. People show up, they show up, they don't. So we're on live right now. So let's get started. I'll ray in. Are you going to train Dimitri, or are you going to just watch as well?
Thank you.
Are you going to, maybe Dimitri will train. If Dimitri's training, well, I'll give him a private lesson today. So all good.
Dimitri, привет.
All right, so let's just start training and let's get onto it. So we're not the most formal schools, but we try to keep a little formality. So let's bow in and we'll start. And we'll do standing ray today, just to get started. So again, my name's Sensei Mitch. I'm with Budo Association. Please give us a share and a subscribe or a like. Let me make sure my brightness of my screen is turned up so I can see you guys. Fantastic. So let's begin. Oh, I'm going to put everybody on mute so it's quiet. Sorry, Oleg. I'm just going to mute you for a second. Awesome. Okay. So we begin every class with raying in. I have a little shinzen in the back here, so I bow to that. And let's begin. Shomani, right? Sensei ni, right? Otagani, right? Onegashimasu. To ni, right? So before we begin, let's put our swords down for 2 seconds and let's just do some quick exercises specifically for Rushin Shochiryu. These are kind of warm-up exercises, but they teach some very, very basic concepts, okay? So, hope everyone's doing well. And We have our friends from Ukraine, so I hope everyone's safe and everyone's doing okay. So we study a system called Rushin Shochiryu Kenjutsu, and we use our bodies to make the cuts. So it's a little different than other systems, and bear with me, I'm going to show you some very basic warm exercises to kind of get you into how we do things. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to inhale with our nose, and then as we inhale, we're going to collapse our chest as we exhale. We're going to exhale, collapsing our chest into in position. So this is in position, this is yo position, and this is chuyo is relaxed, is neutral. So in is collapsed, yo is open, and chuyo is neutral. So we're going to inhale with our nose, we're going to exhale, and as we exhale, we're going to push into in position, and then when we get to a certain point where we can't go any further, you're going to push into yo and relax. Let's do that 5 times all together. Here we go. Ready? Ich. Ni. Sam. Shi. Go. Fantastic. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to inhale with our nose, and we're going to exhale into yo position, and then we're going to push into in position. Oh, someone's chatting with me. I don't know. Hold on a second. Sometimes people forget the links. So bear with me for 2 seconds. Can't find the class. Of course you can't find the class because I emailed it to you. Hold on 2 seconds. Let me copy the link and send it to our student Robert in New Jersey. Okay, so now he has it, so hopefully he'll be able to join in. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so, hey, Robert. So this one, we're gonna exhale, we're gonna inhale, exhale into yo position, and you're gonna push into in position at the end. Let's do 5 all together. Ready? Each. Ni. Sam. Shi. Go. Fantastic, really good, guys. So now that we've done that, now let's do another variation on that, which is, we call this prayer exercise. So hands together like a prayer. You're going to inhale with your nose, and as you exhale, you're going to bring your elbows together. This is an in position. I'm really collapsing my body. I'm going to bring my elbows all the way, my hands all the way behind my head, all the way down. I'm still in position here. I'm going to open my chest into yo position, keeping my hands, trying to keep my hands alongside the sides of my body. Rotate my hands upside down, and I'm going to step out with my right foot, okay? And I'm going to push with my chest and my back muscles forward with my right hand over my left hand. For advanced, you can go right into tenuch, but for beginners, just right hand over left hand. Excuse me. Let's do 5. Sorry. Hand in my throat. Ready? Each. Ni. Sam. Shi. Go. Very good. Fantastic. So the next one we're going to do is we call this one wall hip exercise. So in Rushin, the system that we're studying, we don't use sayabiki, which is pulling the saya behind us. We're using our hips to go back and forth, pulling our hips back and forth. So this exercise helps kind of with that motion. It's not intuitive, right? It's not like just you're going to pick it up right away. It's something that's almost counterintuitive. You have to physically be conscious of doing it. So for us, what we're going to do is I'm going to pull my hakama up just so you can see my legs for a second. You're going to keep your feet shoulder width apart. You're going to step straight back like a railroad track. Okay. And you can see that my back foot is not turned out, but the heel is turned. Try to keep the heel turned forward so your hips and your belly button is forward. Okay. And when I do this, you can see my left knee is forward. I'm going to bend my left knee over my big toe, and I'm going to lift my back heel up a little bit. So this should be kind of almost like you're going to take off running, right? And it should be comfortable and you should feel square. Your torso should be up and forward. And what you're going to do is you're going to pretend there's a little chair behind you, and you're going to straighten your front leg out, and you're going to push your hips and sit down in that little chair, and you're going to come right back up again. So this is a nice deep stretch. Okay. So for beginners, and be mindful, you don't want your hip to go out to the right. That's one of my problems, where I used to do this. I would push my hips out. I naturally want to bend this knee. So if you look at this knee, it goes off. So I want to try to keep my hip straight. So the key is to allow your knee almost to collapse inward. And you want to keep the line straight forward and back. Okay, so let's do that. We'll do that 5 times, nice and slow. Okay, so you could put your hands up like this. Okay, ready? Each. Ni. Sam. Shi. Go. Very good. Now we're going to do 5 more, but this is how we kind of use it more in kata and how we're using our techniques. So with the second one, it's exactly the same position. My knee is over my big toe, my left knee. And instead of going all the way back, stretching a deep stretch, I'm just straightening my leg, pulling my hip back, and then I'm pushing my hip forward. So it's a pelvic thrust. That's what it is. So you're going to pull your hip back and push your hip forward. For advanced students, Daniel and Zlata and Robert and Oleg, you guys, you should also think about going into in position on the top of your body when you go into back in, and then open into yo. In, yo. Okay, let's do that 10 times. And we're gonna do it nice. This is done faster. So one quick motion. Okay, here we go, 10 times. Ready? Ich, I, sam, shi, go, broke, shich, hutch, cute, two. Very good. So those are very, very basic warm-up exercises. Try to practice those on your own, because it's how we learn how to do things with our system, okay? The Rushin system, we're making the power, using our bodies to generate that power to make those one-handed cuts, okay? So let's get our Iaito, and let's start with Kamae today. And then just a side note, we just want to say that, thank you guys for supporting us. We want to welcome our newest Patreon and member, Trevor Haynes, who just tested with us in Chattanooga, in Tennessee, for NICU. So he's under our friend David Scheffler Sensei, and we're really happy that he's joining us. So I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to make it today, but if he does, great. If he doesn't, this is a big shout out to him. Trevor, we're so happy you're joining us online, and we're looking forward to training with you. All right, fantastic. So let's get our Iaito. And we had a blast yesterday. We got to march in the first annual Japan Day Parade, which was a lot of fun. We were directly behind the Sailor Moon float. So, you know, it's really hard to compete with, like, you know, beautiful models dressed as, like, you know, Sailor, you know, schoolgirls and jumping around a float. So that was a hard act to follow. We had fun. It was a lot of fun. So let me go back to this view as well. Okay, so we're going to start with Kamae today. Let's do Kamae. We'll go through it once, and then I'm going to call on someone to do Kamae. Okay, and I'll go maybe this way so you can see a different angle. Okay, so ready? Iagosh. Seiga no Kamae. And let me back up a second so I'm a little more centered. Geira no Kamae. Suri no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. Shoura no Kamae. Tombo no Kamae. Maki Tombo no Kamae. Tombo no Kamae. Wakigame no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. In no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. Yo no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. Anji no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. Kochuburi. Noto. Back to Iagosh. Fantastic. So I'm going to call on someone and see how you guys do. And we have a very small class today, so you guys are going to get a lot of personal attention. All right, Daniel, you ready? So Daniel's down in Mexico City. It looks gorgeous. It's very nice here too now, so I can compete with you with weather now. Are you ready? So Iagosh, Seiga no Kamae, Geira no Kamae, Suri no Kamae, Seiga no Kamae, Shoura no Kamae, Tombo no Kamae, Maki Tombo no Kamae. Good. Tombo no Kamae. Wakigame no Kamae. Good. Seiga no Kamae. Good. In no Kamae. Good. Seiga no Kamae. Yo no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. Good. Manji no Kamae. Good. Seiga no Kamae. Good. Kochuburi. Noto. Beautiful, Daniel. Fantastic. Really, really good. So Daniel, these comments are for you, but they're really all these comments are for everybody always. So Daniel, fantastic. You're looking nice and sharp. You're going to be ready for your IQ test, no problem, when Yahage Sensei goes to Mexico. So I'm going to speak to him specifically about that, and hopefully Phil Sensei will be down there as well. So for you, Kamae, everything looks really good. I have a couple little nitpick comments. So with gate on, don't bend your wrist, but low, or just keep your tenuch, keep this relationship, but just lower your arms down. Okay, so don't change the grip, just lower your arms down. Okay, so that's with gate on. Jodan look good, Tombo look good, Maki Tombo look really good. Wakigame, with Wakigame, you don't have to, with your right hand, you can't really keep this. It's hard, if you can keep this grip, but your hand turns into this, which is no good. So what I like to do is you can relax this hand and you can keep the tiger's mouth that Phil Sensei talks about. Just keep the tiger's mouth and keep your pinky right on the ska here, right? So I just relax my hand here like this. Okay, so this hand your right hand can relax. You still want to keep your hand on the ska, but you don't have to hold hard, just relax it. Okay, and the same goes for, not in this system, but there is wakigame version of this, and the same thing goes with this hand. You can't really hold on to it, so you just relax this hand, you keep your hand on it, but you definitely want to keep one hand with tenuchi. Okay, in wakigame. Okay, Inno looked really good. Y'all try to keep the handle right over your forehead. So you don't want to be up high, but you want to keep it right over your forehead. Okay, that looked really good. And then manji, try to not let, because you're wearing a gi, so try to push your elbows in and not have any space here. And be mindful that your thumb doesn't come in forward, but your thumb is behind. Everything is behind the cutting edge of the blade on manji. Okay, everything else look good. Make sure the tip of the kasaki is aligned with the front toe. Okay, and the tip is towards the front, towards the center. Everything else looked fantastic. So Daniel, you're gonna rock and roll in September. I have no doubt in my mind. All right, so that's Kamae. Let's do Kamae one more time. We're gonna go through nice and fast, and let's rock and roll it, okay? I shouldn't say that term, it's terrible. So I'll do it, I'll do it in this direction this time, just for a different angle, okay? Here we go. Ready? Yagosh. Seiga no Kamae. Geira no Kamae. Suri no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. Chora no Kamae. Tombo no Kamae. Maki Tombo no Kamae. Tombo no Kamae. Wakigame no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. In no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. Yo no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. Anji no Kamae. Seiga no Kamae. Kochiburi no to. Fantastic, really, really good. Okay, oh, and I should be recording this actually, so bear with me guys, sorry, I totally, okay, sorry, everyone's gonna have to hit okay, agree to record. So my apologies for for our recording. We just did Kamae. I will go back over that, we do that every class, so don't worry about that. We are live streaming this to YouTube, hopefully, so hopefully you can watch the beginning there. But we are going to record this so for our patrons and everybody else and our members. So the next thing we're going to do is Suburi, just to get warmed up a little bit. It's a little warm today, so we're not going to go too hard. But I have a good 5 pounds to lose, so I need to get a good sweat on. So here we go. First one we're going to do is there's 3 of them, actually 4, including Tumble. So the first one we're going to do is you're going to keep your feet, right foot slightly in front of your left foot. You're going to slide forward with the right, and you're going to slide the left foot up, keeping that relationship. And you want to keep your feet on the ground. So you don't want to pick your foot up and step off. Right? You want to keep contact with the floor. So your foot basically comes up behind you or follows you. Okay? Second part is yo to in. So again, we don't throw the tip out making the big half circle like seitei or muso shinden, we do it with our bodies in our chest. Remember that prayer exercise that we did before, right? It's exactly that. Okay, so with this one, you're going to slide up into yo position, and then you're going to slide back up into in position. So yo, in, yo, in, yo, in. Very good. So now that we do this, everything should be nice and relaxed. The sword is going to come all the way. Make sure the sword comes all the way down, all the way behind your head. Okay, so the first one, the whole point of this is to relax your chest. Okay, so I'm still in position. When I slide forward, I open my chest. And when I slide up, I'm closing my chest, cutting all the way down to gate on. The key with this is to make sure you have proper tenuchi, proper grip. So there's kamae, and there's kamae, kirite, so pushing the thumbs forward, kirite, and tomite, I'm pushing my forearms forward. Okay. Okay. So I want to make sure I'm controlling my sword with my hands. Okay. So first one, make sure when you finish the cut, stop here. It doesn't have to be super hard, but just make sure you control it. What you don't want is you don't want the sword to bounce. Okay. What we're trying to avoid is this. This is no good. This is chicken neck, right? So we don't want this. Okay. So let's do 20 all together. This is the first one. Breathing out with the cut. Try to relax your chest. Think about yo to in. Ready? Here we go. Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, kyu, ju, ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, kyu, ju. Very good. So the first one should be nice and soft. Don't worry about getting a hatsuji or making a big swishing noise or even cutting for the most part. All you're trying to do is relax your chest, open, close. If you want to think about squeezing the tenuchi and finishing the cut and stopping definitively, that's great as well. The second one now, you're actually going to start cutting. So this one, we're going to do a good strong kiai with our tanden, right? We're going to breathe out really hard, and we're going to stop the cut chudan. And again, we're going to stop the cut, not with our arm so much, but with our tenuchi, with proper grip, right? So kirite, tomite, kirite, tomite. So pushing, almost like you ease down on a brake, right? When you're driving. So you don't want to slam on the brake, but what you want to do is you want to ease the brake. So you're easing the brake, slowing the cut down, controlling that cut. Okay. Let's do 30 all together. So a good strong kiai. So I'll do one or two just to show you. Hey! 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 Stopping, chudan. Good strong kiai. Now, I'm in my backyard. It's Brooklyn. It's nice and quiet today. I really don't want to bother my neighbors all that much. So I'm just going to breathe out, or just good, strong breathing out. So when you breathe out, you want to make sure you're breathing out from this position all the way back there. So you're pushing the breath all the way out, stopping chudan, middle level. Okay, let's do 30 all together. Here we go. And hopefully I won't kill my tree too much. Ready? Ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, kyu, ju, ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, kyu, ju, ich, ni, sam, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, kyu, ju. Very good. So this is a little tip I want you to be cognizant of, aware of, okay, is tenuch. Tenuch is extremely important. It's a little thing that you can work on, but it's one of those things that will pay off more and more you do the techniques. So the thing I want you to be mindful of is you don't change your grip when you're doing these cuts. And you definitely don't change it when you open your all the way back here. And what do I mean by that? So when you bring the sword behind you, my hand grip does not change. So when I open my chest, I don't change my grip back here. I'm gonna wiggle my fingers so you can see it, and then bring my chest and close my hands again. So that's kind of cheating. You're not really opening your chest at that point, and you're not using your back muscles. What you're doing is you're opening your hands, closing your hands, and going. And when you do that, your risk of losing your sword or not getting the grip proper, again, not so good. So be mindful that when you have your grip, this grip does not change. So when you bring the sword behind your head, the grip does not change. Open your chest, slide forward, the grip does not change. Closing, the grip does not change, right? Your tenuch, all you're doing is squeezing and pushing forward. Fantastic. So that's a little tip, something to be mindful of, okay? So let's do the next one, 50 all together. This is ya-a. So with this one, we are using, this is a tanden exercise. So our tanden is the ha, which is the lower abdomen breathing. It's difficult, and we're gonna basically think of it like a balloon. You have a balloon, you have it full of air, and you want to keep that air and you want to push the air down and out. So almost like a balloon, when you let a little bit of air out, right, it makes that high pitched noise. And when you let a lot of air out, you let the nozzle go, right, a lot of air comes out. So when we're cutting, we want a lot of air to come out. When we're not cutting, we want a little bit of air to come out. But we always want to keep some air in that small balloon, our lower abdomen here. And you should feel your abdomen, lower abdomen expand and contract, and specifically during kata as well. So we use ya-a, and it's almost like one note. Ya-a, and you're pushing the breath down. So everything is slowly pushing down and out. Let's do 50 all together, okay? And it's exactly the same thing. The only difference now is that you're using one breath. So you're in Seigan. The second the tip moves, you begin to breathe out. So before the tip moves, I inhale with my nose, creating tanden. Then once the tip moves, I begin to exhale. Ya, 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 50 times, okay? So some people like doing it very fast. My experience is that if you go too fast, you end up cheating and you end up, and you're starting the breathing out here rather than starting the breathing out from Seigan. So let's make sure we breathe out, start breathing out. The second the sword moves from here, we're breathing out. So I'd rather you go slower and paying more attention to the breathing rather than rushing and going faster, doing it wrong. Let's do 50 all together. And again, apologies, I live in Brooklyn, so every so often I have people revving their engines or ice cream men or motorcycles or whatever. Part of living in the city. Okay, ready? Each, hit, ni, hit, some, hit, she, hit, go, hit, rook, hit, sheet, hit, hutch, hit, cute, hit, shoot, hit, each, hit, neat, hit, some, hit, sheet, hit, go, hit, rook, hit, sheet, hit, touch, hit, sheet, shoot, hit, each, hit, neat, hit, some, hit, sheet, hit, go, hit, rook, hit, sheet, hit, touch, hit, cute, hit, shoot, hit, each, hit, neat, hit, some, hit, sheet, hit, go, hit, rook, hit, sheet, hit, touch, hit, cute, hit, shoot, hit, each, hit, neat, hit, some, hit, sheet, hit, go, hit, rook, hit, sheet, hit, touch, hit, cute, hit, shoot. Very good. Sorry, allergy season. And of course, I swallowed straight up a piece of pollen. So hydrate for a second. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So be mindful. Try to let yourself open and close, keeping that tenuch. So when you practice Suburi, those should be your focuses, okay? For kata, when we do kata, excuse me, when we do kata, we're cutting in exactly the same way. A lot of times we're cutting from jodan, and jodan, it's the same thing. The only difference is from here, we're squeezing our elbows in, we're squeezing our chest in and cutting, rather than other systems that throw the tip out and make a big circle. We are just squeezing and pushing forward. Ooh, sorry about that. Ooh. So next we're going to do Tumble no Kamae. So cutting Tumble is cutting kesagiri from shoulder all the way to the hip. We are moving forward and down, and this is a cumulative cut. So we're not really using our arms like a baseball bat, but our whole body is pushing forward and down. So I'll cut a couple of times. This is, make sure you have proper Kamae. So what am I doing and how do I cut Tumble? So I'm gonna pick my hakama up again because it's hot and get a little bit of air conditioning going. As you can see, my sageo is way too long. I need a new one that's a little shorter. And that's what my treat for myself this year is gonna be. I'm gonna buy a nice sageo. So now that you can see my feet, once again, my feet are shoulder width apart. I'm gonna step straight back like a railroad track. I'm gonna bend my left knee over my big toe, and I'm gonna make sure my back foot is not turned out, but basically the heel is turned forward so my hip points forward. And I want to make sure that my knee is bent over my big toe. Okay. And if I had a leaf should be able to slide under my right foot, my back right foot here. It's not up like this, but it's slightly off the ground. Okay. And my weight is forward. My back is straight. So the first thing we're going to do on Tumble is you're going to push and you're going to lean on your left foot. And you're going to lean on this foot, and then you're just going to turn the foot out. So I want you to lift the foot up and turn it out. Okay, let's do that 5 times. Ready? Lean. Ich. Lean. Ni. Lean. Sam. Lean. Shi. Lean. Go. So what is that doing? When I open this, turn my foot out, I'm opening my hip. So my hip is now open. So when I fall forward with my right foot, and I'm going to fall straight forward in a straight line, I can sink my weight, sink my tanden, my center, and I can drop my center. Okay, so that's the next step, is leaning forward, and then you're going to step forward, you're going to fall forward, sinking your weight, trying to keep your back straight. So the key is you don't want to step wide, and you don't want to step too narrow. Okay, you don't want to step in front, but you want to think about it like a railroad track, right? So parallel. And you don't have to step too deep either. So some people will step here. That's fine. As long as you're opening your hips, that's all we really care about. But you don't want to step all the way out. You can see I've really extended my left leg, right? So this is too deep. You don't have to go that deep. Okay, just dropping your weight forward and down. Let's try that 5 times. Here we go. Ready? Iwakazushi. So this position is called Iwakazushi, with your knee bent like this. Okay. Each knee. Sam. Shi. Go. Very good. So that's the first part with cutting tumble. My weight is going forward and down, and I'm dropping my center. All of my body weight is dropping. So my body weight is dropping about a foot. And one of the things that Yahagi Sensei likes us to do is to stretch. So opening your hips up, being able to do a full split. Robert, you can do one. You know, the idea is that you should be able to do a full split and be very, very limber in your hips. Sensei talks about the fascia. I think it's called the fascia, which is like the membrane that's like holds the muscles and the joints together. That should be flexible. So he gets very into that aspect of it. I can open my hips up a little bit. I'm trying. I've been slacking because I've been so busy doing my evening stretches, but it's a good idea to try to stretch every single day to open your hips up and just be gentle with it. My advice also is to do it after you take a shower or you're warmed up, and it's a little easier. Okay. Now we're going to do, again, yo to in. So everyone remembers this exercise that we just did, right? So instead of pushing into the center, this time you're going to push to the left. Remember, we're cutting this way, right? Shoulder to hip. So I'm going to push here to the left. So you're going to go from this position, open your chest, yo position, push your chest almost like you're on the floor and you're pushing, right? And you're going to push from this position. You're going to push, breathing out, straightening both arms all the way out to the left. Okay. Here, let's do that 5 times. Ready? Each. Ni. Sam. Shi. Go. Very good. Oh, got a mosquito. So now we're going to combine part 1 and part 2. So this is now falling forward and down, and I'm pushing from yo position to in position. Okay, so we're going to try this 5 times, and I want you to do this at the same time. It can't be 1, 2, and then push. It has to be done at the same time. So all at the same time. So that's the whole point. It's like a wave. Everything is building until it crashes down. Okay, you ready? Here we go. 5 times. Ready? Each. Ni. Sam. Shi. Go. Very good. So that's the tumble cut. The last little thing is after you push and you fall from yo position, because tumble is a yo position, and you fall forward and you push into in position, you have to straighten your back into chuyo, neutral. So you want to do this, it should feel like a natural transition back into neutral position from in. So just straighten yourself up a little bit, okay? You don't want to make it so prominent you look like a duck. That's no good. So no good, but it should feel natural, okay? Now the last little thing is tennuchi. Everyone can snap. So you're going to activate your grip here, right? Before you cut, this is the active, right? You activate the tennuchi a little bit, activate your grip. And when you cut, you're gonna push forward and you're gonna snap and you're gonna, remember, kirite, tomite. This is where I want the cut to stop. That's where you're gonna snap. When I say snap, we use snapping because our thumbs are gonna push forward for kirite, okay? To stop that cut. All right, enough talking. Let's do tumble. Let's do it 10 times all together. Tumble no kamae. Make sure your knee is bent over your big toe. Okay, and you're leaning forward. Ready? Each. Ni. Sam. Shi. Ko. Rok. Shich. Hach. Q. Ju. Very good. So kamae is really important. If your kamae is off, and you can see my belly button is facing forward or my back foot is out, it's much harder for me to make that cut because then I'm twisting my hips. I don't want my hips to twist. I just want my hips, my body to fall forward and down, okay? Cutting. Make sure, another little tip is when you cut, extending your left arm out to cut. Don't keep this elbow bent because this shortens the cut and you also are pulling the sword away from the target. Okay, so that's tumble cuts. I'm not going to spend too much time on tumble. Next, we're going to do tenku no tachi gyo, shin, and so. These are also warm-up exercises. We do this every class. This is Nukitsuke, so drawing and cutting, and then doing noto. So the first thing that we're going to do today is, and the thing I want you to concentrate on, is making that transition today. So today, it's going to be a little bit of a difficult class. pushing your hips back, rolling your hips forward, cutting, allowing the arm to come forward. I'm keeping my grip. And then from here, I push forward, I push across. So in position, rolling my fingers, making the cut all the way down, opening my chest. Yo position, allowing my chest to close, in position. My hand does not change, my grip does not change. And then from here, I'm just going to push to the left. Let's try that. No sword, just hands a couple of times, okay? So pretend this is your saya, this is your hand that you're drawing from. So draw flat, we don't want to grab, right? And you're going to push the sword forward and out. You're going to push your hips forward and roll your pinky, roll your fingers forward, making the cut and creating tenuchi, creating grip. The arm is going to come forward, back. Momentum is going to bring the arm forward and back. And once the arm comes back, you're going to push the arm across to the left side, and then you're going to step back. Again. So the transition is what I want you to work on today, which is not stopping here. Not stopping. So when you're very, very beginning, we always tell people stop here, then flat, then push and step back and push across, right? That's for very, very brand new people, right? Here, flat, flat, and I push across the body and I step back at the same time, straight back, okay? Now you guys are a little more advanced. Push out, roll your fingers, making the cut all the way down. Bring the sword back, touch flat, and then once you touch, you're gonna push across your body all the way to the left side and step back at the same time, okay? And stepping back is gonna bring our hips back. Flat, and I step back, and that brings the hip back, okay? Let's do this 10 times, and then I'm gonna call on someone, okay? Here we go. This is Tenku no Tachi Gyo, stepping back. And I'm gonna keep my hakama up because the breeze feels kind of nice, and you can see my feet that way. Ready? Hajime. Me. Sam. She. Ko. Rok. Ich. Hach. Q. Chu. Very good. So this is a really hard transition to make. It's better to go slow and smooth than rushing, going fast, and not doing the technique properly. So what I want you to do is allow yourself to open, close, and then push across your body. The goal is to make it one smooth, fluid transition. Rather than 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's call on someone and see how you guys do. All right, Dimitro, you ready? Let's do 5, okay? Ready? Each. Yi. Sam. She. Go. Really good, Dimitro. Fantastic. Okay, this is what I want you to work on. So you're doing what I used to do, which is slight violin. So what do I mean by that? So 2 little things. First is when you're doing this, okay, and you're cut, everything looks good. When you bring the sword back and you touch, you don't want to pull the sword out and then come around. So what you're doing is see the blade. I'll turn it this way so you can see it. So don't pull out and then come around, right? So from here, you're just pushing forward, right? Once you touch, push. Don't have to bring it back. Don't play violin here, okay? So from here, just push. If your hip is forward and you push, you could see how far back the blade goes to my arm. When I step back, when I pull my hips back, it drops right in, okay? So you have to have a little bit of faith in your technique that you're pushing it across and everything is lined up, okay? So we don't have sayabiki. We're not doing this, right? So no sayabiki. No, don't pull it out and then go out. So what you're doing is you're pulling the tip back and then coming around. Just push forward. Okay? The second little thing, and this is for everybody, is the proper grip on the saya, on the koyoguchi. And the koyoguchi is the little opening, right? Is right here. This is like the koi fish, right? The mouth of a koi fish. So you're gonna take your, and I will move a little closer. You're gonna take your left hand, you're gonna take your thumb and your index finger, your middle finger, and your thumb and your middle finger are gonna wrap right around the edge, right to the edge, okay? So you don't wanna come here, you wanna be right here. And then your index finger and your thumb are pinching. This is the grip. This does not change, okay? So you don't want to pinch like this, because if you're pinching one, the fingerprints for the sword is really bad, right? So you don't want to get any fingerprints, but also 2-foot razor. So if your fingers are doing this around a very sharp knife, you're gonna cut yourself. So keep that grip, okay? Touch, and then come here, okay? So make sure you don't pinch. So if you have to take tape, take tape and tape up your hand so you don't pinch, okay? Really good. So let's call on one more person to see how you guys do. I can't pronounce your name. Exa. Do you want to try it? Do you want to try? Oh, like I don't know what her name is. Or Dimitri. Do you want to try it? Yes? No? Oh, no. Okay. Yes? Okay. What is your name? You're mute. Here, let's ask you to unmute. I don't hear you. You're muted.
Yes,
My name is Oksana.
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 Oksana. So Oksana,
Yes.
welcome. Okay. So have you ever done this before or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you're gonna do 5. Okay. This is she. This is gyo, stepping back. Okay. You ready?
Okay.
Hi. Ready?
Yes.
Each. Ni. Sam. She. Go. Very good, Oksana. Fantastic. Really good.
Thank you very much.
Really good. So this tip is for you. So it's a little hard for me to see you because you're backlit. So the lights are behind you. So you're like a shadow, silhouette. But I can see a little things, and these are the things I want you to work on. Okay. So
Yeah.
continue. Okay. So this is what I want you to work on. So really good. Similar problem that Dimitri had, okay, which was, this is good. Allow the arm to come forward. So this is like a hinge. So just practice just this, letting your arm naturally come forward. Okay, once the arm comes forward, then you touch, and once you touch, you're gonna push across your body. So don't pull the arm out and then go across, okay? So just touch and push. Touch and push, okay? Touch and push across and step back, okay?
Okay.
Really good. The second thing is, this is just a warm-up exercise. So when we're doing kata, yes, when you do kata and you do this, you step back halfway and then you turn the sword up and then, right? But for this exercise, this is just warm-up exercise. So you don't have to turn the sword up. You can just keep the saya flat, okay? So keep it flat. So here, flat. Just keep it flat. Okay?
Okay.
So also the goal is not to make any noise when you're, ideally you don't want to make any noise. So when you put the sword away, no good, right? Can you hear that? Right? So you don't want to make that noise. So everything is nice and quiet. Okay?
Okay. Okay. Thank
Fantastic.
you very much.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Who are you training with? Are you training with Oleg, Zlata, Dimitri, Sergey?
Oleg.
Oleg. I could
Oleg.
tell.
Oleg is my teacher.
Oh, fantastic. So you're in good hands. He knows what he's doing already. he's gonna start showing off how good his students are now. So next we're gonna do is Shin. Shin, it's exactly the same thing, but this time you're gonna stop right here, parallel to your body, and you're gonna, instead of letting your arm come all the way back and all the way forward, this time you're going to stop here and you're gonna bring your chest forward. So this one, you're still using your chest muscles and your back muscles. The difference is instead of letting the cut here all the way and then come forward, you're stopping here and then coming forward. The other difference is that you're not stepping straight back on this one, but this is closer to that pulling your hip back, that just pelvic thrust, right? So we're just pulling our hip back and pushing our hip forward, okay? So today I want you again to focus on trying to make that one motion, not two motions. So when you do this, cutting, stopping here, proper tenuch, right? This is proper grip. Stopping here, tenuch, in, touch, and pull your hip back. Okay, let's try 10 all together, nice and slow, not too fast, but try to control that tenuch and try to bring the sword back with your chest and your back muscles and try to make it into one motion again. Okay, here we go. This is shi. Each. Ni. Sam. Shi.
Тебя будет видно, если что. Я ж на камеру занимаюсь.
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna mute you for a second. Go. Broke. Shich. Oh, I stepped back. My mistake. Hugh. Hutch. Hugh. Chew. Right. Back. Pull your hip right back. Really good. So there's really no difference between the first and the second one. Well, the first one, you're actually letting it's more of a warm up. So you're letting yourself really expand open and really expand close, and you're stepping back. The second one is what we usually do in kata, but you're stopping that cut here, okay? And ideally, you can, once you have that control where you're able to control where you're making that cut and you're using that momentum to bring the sword back with your chest and your back muscles, then you can start moving the cut, start controlling where you want to stop the cut, right? So I can go about here at this point and still use my chest and my back muscles to bring it back. So that's what you guys all should be working towards, is learning how to control that squeeze in your chest and in your back muscles. All right, let's call on someone and see how you do. All right, Robert, you've been very patient.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
Make sure your knee is bent, right? Make sure that knee is bent. Good. Ready? Let's do 5 each. Ni. Sam. Shi. Go. Good. Okay, Robert. So these are your comments, really good. This is what I want you to work on. So Robert, I want you to go a little slower, and I want you to use both sides in position. So you're trying to stop here. Just try to stop here right now, okay? And you're cutting very flat. So this is still an ichimonji. It's still a kesagiri cut. The cut should be natural. It's top shoulder to under the arm. So the cut should be here, right? You don't want the cut to be here, right? Because if you do it this way, you're bending your wrist, right? So you want to keep that grip. This is just a warm-up exercise. So keep that grip here, right? And allow both sides of your chest to relax. So just allow your arms to open and close, both sides, nice and soft, okay? So what you're doing is you're using a lot of your arm.
Yes.
And you're bending your elbow and you're bending your wrist. So you're gonna have tennis elbow and you're gonna have wrist problems if you keep doing that. It's gonna start hurting you because you're putting a lot of pressure on that joint. Okay, so think of this grip doesn't change, right? And it stays the same. It doesn't matter where it ends. Your arm freezes almost like you're wearing a cast. Okay, the other thing is, make sure you're making a lot of noise when you're touching, which means you're moving your fingers a lot, okay? So make sure that your grip is around the saya, okay? And you're really pinching. You really should have no noise when you touch here, okay?
Yes.
Once you touch, you're pushing across and just push your hips back. Make sure you collapse both sides of your chest. So it's almost like my good friend of mine, Livia, and Lucas and Sarah, and my friend Taki, they do Shaolin Kung Fu. And Shaolin is always about balance. Even when I did Hapkido, everything was about being balanced on both sides, always working both sides. So EI, we're a right-handed sword, so we don't have as much left-handed, but you have to allow your both sides to expand and collapse, okay? So you don't want to freeze one side if you can help it, okay? So allow both sides to go in, yo, in, chill, okay? It should be nice and quiet, okay? And then also, you're also doing the same thing where you're touching and then you're pulling out. See where my hand is? I'm pulling my hand out and I'm swinging it forward. So once you touch, just push, touch and push. That push, if my knee is forward and I push, right? And I don't pull my hips back, you could see how far the sword is, right? You could see where the tip is. If I push my hips back and I push forward, I push across, it drops right into the saya. Okay, so you want to be able to have that relationship, okay? So allow yourself not to go so hard, but to stop here. So your homework this week, very simple. Here in both sides, snap, in. So allow your grip. See how I have my grip here? Once I allow the arm to come forward, the momentum to bring me forward, then I push. Cutting, this is proper grip. My chest comes forward, then I push. Okay, that's what it's not easy. So you guys are all doing great. This is really, really difficult. Okay, so give yourself a little applause. This is not easy stuff. Okay, it takes a long time to get acclimated and used to doing this technique specifically. I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm still working on Noto and trying to get it smoother. So I know friends who can do it very fast and are smoother than me, and I know people who've been doing it longer and do it worse than me. So, you know, it's not a competition. We're not trying to be better than each other. We're just trying to all get better and help each other understand the technique. Fantastic. So the next one we're going to do is So. So is meditative. There's one speed, which is slow. That's the speed. Okay. So the difference with So is that you're cutting ichimonji flat. The sword turns over. Same thing when we did before, all the way down, sliding forward, opening your chest, closing your chest, cutting kiryoshi, o chiburi, and Noto. Okay, nice and slow. Try to breathe out with the whole way, all the way. And this one, the key is to make this transition. So turning the hand over and continuing. So let's do that just 3 times altogether. So just keep your hand in front of you, right? Just in front of you. And you're gonna bring your arm across your body, all the way across, and then turn your hand over and continue. Ni. Sam. So that simple transition of turning your hand over is actually present in a lot of the other kata that we do. Nidan kata, right? Iwakazushi. Right? All of those kata have that simple, just turning the hand over. So it's really important. So on this one, think about how that hand turns over, and also think about in and yo transitions. I'll call the first one and then follow along with the other 2. Okay, try to breathe out the entire way. Here we go. Yagosh. Each. So in position, yo position, turning the sword over, yo position, in position, chuyo. Inhale, yo in position, stepping back, yo position, in position, chuyo. Ni. Sam. Very good. So that's the warm-up exercises. Be sure to practice those, especially if you're testing for Q. That's what we test on, okay? That's what we really pay attention to. It doesn't matter what rank you get. If you're that foundation, if you cannot do these exercises in the first hour well, then the rest of the kata you will not be able to do properly. So it's going to really come out and it's going to become obvious. So we really, in our school, we always concentrate on those basics and making sure that everyone has a really good foundation to build on. Once they have that foundation, they can go to the moon. Okay. So now let's do some kata. So we have a lot of beginners today. So I'm going to do some shodan kata, and maybe I might do some nidan or some sanan kata. But I'm going to do some shodan. I'm going to start with some shodan kata. So I have my mat here. So bear with me for 2 seconds. I'm going to roll this out so we can start with Tenshi no tachi mai, which is the first kata. So I bought this mat for my son to do judo on, and I ended up using it more than him. He did get use out of it, but I tend to use it now more than he does. So fantastic. Okay, so now I have a nice mat and my knees are not going to kill me at the end. So I'll demonstrate the first kata. This is Tenshi no tachi mai, and then I'm going to give you some little pointers on it, explain what I'm doing, and then we're going to do it all together a couple of times, and then I'm going to call on some people. So this is the first kata, Tenshi no tachi mai. Fantastic. So what am I doing? So the first thing I'm doing is, and I'll go at a slight angle so you can see a little better, is I'm sitting in seiza, okay? And I'm sitting with my left toe is on top of my right toe. So it's like an overlap. My knees are about a fist and a half, 2 fists apart, okay? And my back is straight, my chin is slightly tucked in, and my hands are not at my hands, or my hands are not open, but my fingers are closed and my hands are at my hips, okay? I'm gonna breathe 3 times. So I inhale through my nose and I exhale through my mouth. And the whole purpose of this is to create pandan, is to create that ball of air. So I'm gonna inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and I'm making that ball of air. On the third one, I inhale and I swallow the breath, bringing the pandan, the breath down lower. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pat up on the sword and I'm going to push the sword down and flat, breaking the habaki, pushing the habaki out, which is that little piece. Once I touch the sword, everything moves forward and out at the same time. So once I touch the sword, my knees squeeze together. I'm going to activate my feet. So I'm going to come up on my toes, right? And I'm going to start pushing the sword, leaning forward into in position. So in, leaning both sides, in, almost like I'm going to fall over. And once I think I'm going to fall over, I step, pushing my hip out and pushing forward, cutting ichimonji, making sure I have proper tenuchi. Cutting and then slowly turning the sword, letting the sword go around, turn the sword over just like in so. Let it drop all the way behind you. Open your chest, close your chest, cutting all the way down, okay? And I'm gonna stomp, and the stomp is like a break. I don't wanna hit the ground, so what I'm doing is I'm closing and I'm straightening stopping myself, my momentum going forward. From here, the person is dead. Now I'm going into Zasen. So here, you're gonna be very aggressive. You're going to push the tip of the sword forward and up, and you're going to follow. This is going to pull you up like someone's pulling you up by the sword, and you're going to step right up into Jodan no Kamae. This is very aggressive, okay? So this is, are there any more threats? This is Zasen, so it's important to slow everything else down. You're softening your gaze, and you want to use your peripheral vision to see, are there any more threats around you? There are no more threats. Slowly step back into Seiga no Kamae. There are no more threats, right? So then you inhale. Yo. Touch. And once I step back and the sword goes in, I'm going to turn the sword up like a switch. And when the sword turns up, I'm going to drop my left knee down. The sword stays out. I bring my right knee back, and then I slowly bring everything all together, and I sit back into Seigan. We wipe the ska twice, once on top and once on the bottom. And then we put our hands back into Seiza position. All right, so that's what I'm doing. Let's try this 3 times all together, and then I'm gonna call on somebody, okay? And I'll do it at different, first I'll do it forward, then I'll do it sideways, and I'll do it sideways, okay? Here we go. Ready? This is Tenshi no tachi, Mai. This is the first kata. And by the way, this is on every test, so know this kata. Ready? Hajime. Very good. Again, I'll go this way. Very good. One more time all together, and then I'm going to call somebody. This time I'll do it. I'll go this way this time. Okay, here we go. And I'll move a little closer so you can see slightly tighter. Ready? Hajime. Very good. So before we go on, I call on somebody, just be mindful that you're pushing your hips forward with that cut. So make sure that when you squeeze your knees, everything is pushing at the same time, leaning both sides in, and then you're going to step out and you're going to push your hips forward with that cut. The other thing is make sure you cut here, cutting, and then slowly from here, almost, Phil Sensei talks about like a wall of Jello, right? Like there's a whole wall of Jello here. So I'm cutting, and then everything slows down. Doesn't stop. I don't stop, I just go slow at that point. Turn the sword over, let it drop, and cutting down. Okay, so let's see how you guys do. And let's call on somebody. All right, Daniel. Oh, is Daniel, are you still there? I don't think you're there. Oh, you're there. You want to try it, Daniel? Okay, you ready? Can you move back a little bit so I can see you a little better? Perfect. You got to get a mat like me. That's a rug is too thin. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. So everyone can do it with Daniel, but I'm watching Daniel. Ready? Hajime. Really good, Daniel. One more time. One more time. Ready? Hajime. Beautiful, Daniel. Really good. Okay, Daniel, this is what I want you to work on. Really, really good. So really, really good. This is what I want you to work on, Daniel. Okay, so for you, I want you to work on stopping the cut here, okay? So when you cut, okay, and you're pushing forward and in, which is really good, and you cut, don't just bring the cut all the way out, but try to stop the cut here, right? So you can see where the sword is. It's actually in front of me. So I'm just gonna cut through the target here, and then I let slowly. So you wanna show more control. So squeeze and then slow. Then everything else, don't bring the sword up, but allow the sword to come all the way down. So open your chest, close your chest, and cutting. Shodan no Kamae, okay? Don't change your grip. So keep that tenuchi, keep that grip. Don't play with your fingers. And then here, Suburi, don't bring the sword out. So don't bring the sword out, up, and down, because if you bring it out and you bring it around, you can hit your face or cut your head. So make sure you bring the sword right to your nose level. Inhale, in, and bring the sword all the way up over your head. Then step back. Okay, so make sure you bring it all the way over your head. Okay, otherwise, fantastic. We're gonna make sure you're ready to do really well on a test when Sensei comes there, because I'm gonna tell him to pick on you this year. And you're definitely gonna get changed in Mexico City. Oh, this is for everybody. There is gonna be a seminar in Mexico City with Yahage Sensei this September. Daniel Yi is the one who is organizing it. So if you wanna have a beautiful trip, go there. And Daniel, I actually just plugged it to, I ran into he's like a ninja samurai guy on Instagram. He's in Tulum, but I know him through another friend of mine. And I saw him at the Japan Parade, and he's living in Tulum with his wife. So I told him all about the seminar, Yahage Sensei. So I'm hoping he will go to your seminar as well. He's an interesting character. He does like an interesting sword technique. So I don't know what system he does. I didn't really get a chance to talk to him for too long, but he's an interesting guy, and he's very fast. Robert probably knows him from Instagram, because he's on Facebook and Instagram constantly. All right, so let's do another kata now. Now let's call one more person to see how you do. This is this is an important one. So I kind of want to see how other people do. All right, Dimitri, you want to give it a shot? Ready? Hajime. Fantastic, Dimitri. Really good, dude. And I know you're in a tight space, so that's impressive. Really, really good. So Dimitri, really good. You're stopping that cut and then you're continuing it. Really, really good. I know you're in a tight space, so I know you're a little crowded. So, but otherwise, you're fantastic. The only thing that I want to see more from you now is a more pronounced in to yo on the cut. So when you're drawing, okay, allow yourself to really go into in position, both sides, and really push your hip forward. Okay. Other than that, everything else looked beautiful. Really, really good.
Sensei.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Sensei.
All right, Oksana, you're new. I want to, and you're Oleg student, so you're gonna take the place of Oleg now. Can you sit in Seiza, or is it your knees are gonna hurt? Can you sit in Seiza, or you want to do standing? You can do standing, okay. Okay. If I don't want you to hurt your knees, so make sure you get knee pads, okay? Ready? Here we go. Hajime. Fantastic, Oksana. Really good. Really good. So this is what I want you to work on. Really, really good. Okay. So Oksana, fantastic. Make sure that you finish the cut. What I want you to do is make that cut more definitive. So when you cut, okay, that you squeeze that cut and then you go. So don't just bring the sword out, but actually cut. So pushing in, rolling your fingers and cutting, then slow. You did really good. You're bringing it all the way down. So just don't come and use your arm, but try to open your chest. Try to push your hip forward. Yo, in, down. From here, push up, and your jodan, make sure your jodan, it looked, it could be the camera angle, but it looked like your arms were very up and high. So you don't want jodan to be here, you want it to be here. If I had hair, my thumb would be just touching my hair, okay? So this is jodan,
Okay.
okay? Everything else looked great, fantastic.
Thank you.
Really good. Okay,
Thank you.
so we have not that many people, so I want to call on everybody on this kata because this is a very important kata. Robert, you want to give it a shot?
All right, hold on.
Okay, no worries. Should I come back to you? I can call someone else, give you a second if you need it.
I did a second, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to call someone else and then I'll come back to you, okay?
Okay.
Boris, I see you, Boris. You're up. Boris is like, hey. You ready, Boris?
Yes.
Fantastic. Ready? Seiza. Hajime. Really good, Boris. Really good. So Boris, this is what I want you to work on. I want you to make the transition from in to yo more seamless now. So for you, Boris, the second you start to move, the second you touch the sword, I want you to start going, okay? So you're in position. Once you touch the sword, everything is pushing forward. So knees are squeezing, everything is happening at the same time. So right, everything is happening at the same time. So at this point, for you, what you're doing is you're squeezing your knees, you're activating your feet, and then you're pushing. So the second you touch, start to push. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, so it becomes one continuous, like ultimately, and this is all of Rushin, it's one continuous motion. Everything is always moving forward and out for the most part. So everything that we do is moving forward and out, always moving forward. Okay, so it's not in, push, and then go. It's all at the same time.
It
Okay?
starts with this, right? With my hand on the.
Once you touch the sword, and the sword pushes flat, you're going.
Right.
Right. So the second I touch, I'm going. So you don't want to turn over in and then go. This should be one continuous motion.
Right.
Right. And if you think about your body doing that, right? Like when you, I don't know if you had to swim. When you swim, like if you do, you do crawl and there's breaststroke, right? So breaststroke is exactly that, right? In, yo, right? In, yo, right? You can think of it that way, right? So in, yo, right? It's the same motion, but it doesn't stop. It's not like when you go swimming, you go into in, push out, and then yo, you go into, it's all one continuous motion, right? The sword is the same thing, one continuous motion.
But Sensei, there is a sequence of knees together, activating the feet.
All at the same time, all simultaneous.
All simultaneous.
Yep, all simultaneous. It's all at the same time. So when we teach it at very, very beginning, we break it up separately just to kind of get people to, because there's a lot of things going on, right? So squeezing your knees, activating your feet, pushing all at the same time, right? Everything is pushing at the same time. Okay? Really good, Boris. I miss you, man. I owe you a phone call, so I'll call you this week if I have time, okay?
Okay.
Fantastic. All right, Robert, you ready?
Ready.
Good, Robert. One more time, Robert.
Yes.
Ready? So open your legs up a little further, a little wider, just to seiza. Good. Ready? Hajime. Good, Robert. Okay, Robert, this is for you. Really, really good. Getting so much better, dude. All right, this is what I want you to work on. So same thing, what you're doing is you're grabbing the Scott, so you're making a lot of noise when you're pulling. So if you're using a live blade, be very careful if you do this, because the saya is thin wood, it's lacquered wood. It's only like a, quarter of, like not even an eighth of an inch of lacquered wood in here. So 2-foot razor blade, it's like scoring, you know what I mean? Like I can take the back of a pen and I can keep drawing a line. It'll eventually cut through the paper. This is a razor blade. So if you're really pulling hard on this, it'll cut right through into your hand. So make sure you don't grab, make sure you're pushing these 2 fingers, pushing, okay? So make sure you push, very important on all the kata, just push and then roll, okay? So don't go as hard and fast, try to do it slow and smooth. You're doing very hard, like you're a strong guy already, you already have the muscles. So you almost have to go back and not use the muscles. Let your body expand and contract, okay? So this is good, you cut really good, everything was good. This was good. When you cut all the way down, okay, here, you don't have to come up to Seigan, just stay here.
Yes.
Then from here, you push the tip forward, Jodan no Kamae, right? This is Sashin, so slow everything down. Hey, come on. Sorry, there's 2 birds that are like fighting and they decided to have a fight right next to me. When people aren't fighting in Brooklyn, the birds are fighting, squirrels, raccoons, So Jodan no Kamae and then super slow motion. Seigan no Kamae, nice and slow, Zashin. Inhale, slow and soft. Okay, so everything has to go slow, nice and slow, nice and smooth at the end. You don't have to go hard and fast, okay? I know Fred Benier in New Jersey, Fred Benier sensei, he's, Fred likes to do this.
Okay.
He likes to go really hard. Fred is like, a powerhouse. I think he just can't, physically, he just loves doing that. You can make that a cut. Yahage sensei told me that Ochiburi can be a cut, but it's really, when you're doing Chiburi, if the reality is Chiburi is representational. You really can't shake the blood off the sword. It's more representational of doing so. So you can try, if you really want to take, take steak and, rub steak on the sword and then do the different, Chiburi or as hard as you can to fling it off. And you're going to find that there's tons of residue still on the weapon. It does not remove it. So samurai actually used to carry small pieces of paper, or they would use their hakama or their sleeve to do it. Like you would use a piece of paper and then throw the piece of paper away. You wouldn't want to touch the sword as much, okay? So be mindful of that, okay? The other little thing I'm going to pick you on at this point is when you bring the sword forward, see how I'm squeezing my hand here? And if I squeeze my hand, my elbow goes out, okay? So what you want to do is you want to relax your hand, your elbow goes in. Then you push across your body, okay? Excuse me. I guess sneeze one more time. Nope, usually it comes in 2s. So make sure that when you do this, it's okay to keep your grip here. This is proper tenuch, this is fine. But remember what we did this earlier. Hand comes, once you touch, flat and push, and then step back. So the idea is that you're trying to make it into one motion, okay? So try to go a little softer, smoother, and try to be mindful of not, because when you if you keep your grip here and you touch and then you push, you see my elbow,
Yeah.
right? Like it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt my elbow. It's gonna hurt my wrist. So here, just push, and you can just practice at home. Here,
Yes.
flat, and just push, push, push right across to the left. Push right across to the left, and you can see that if my knee is forward, right, my weight is forward, the thigh is flat, everything is flat, it all lines up, right? It's okay if you're just pushing and you're not pulling your hips back. You should feel it on the back of your forearm. If you push your hips back, it drops in. If you step back, it drops in. Okay?
Okay.
But really good, Robert. Fantastic. So we
Thank
don't have that much time. We have another 5 minutes. So before we go, let's do one more kata all together, and we're going to leave off with this kata today. We're going to do Iwakazushi Ippome. This is always we always usually do one of these on the Q test as well. We do Ippome or Nihome. Today I'm going to show you, we're going to go over Ippome very quickly, and then we're going to call it a day. Okay? So Iwakazushi Ippome, I'm going to demonstrate it 2 times, and then I'm going to explain what I'm doing. Here we go. So what am I doing? Here, so what am I doing? So this kata, the person sitting very close to you, I have to draw higher and up. So I'm in seiza, okay? My knees again, 2 fists apart, and I'm relaxed. I take a breath and a half. So this one, I'm just making a quick breath, making kanban. I turn the sword flat. Once I touch the sword, everything squeezes together. So my knees squeeze together and my feet activate, and I push and I draw up. And I'm drawing straight up in front of me, okay? So my feet are active. The sword draws up into yo position. I roll my fingers, creating proper tenuch. So this is yo position. I'm going to cut kesagiri, squeeze into in position. So both sides. In position, bring it right to my shoulder. And then I'm going to step out with the cut, ichimonji, cutting flat with the left foot. In position, yo position. And I want to stop the cut flat. And again, proper grip, right? So proper grip. From here, I just touch the sword. I'm going to pull my hip back and I'm going to drop the tip in. Once the tip goes into the saya, okay, I'm going to turn the sword up like a switch and my back knee is going to turn up. So now I'm in horse stance, right? And the sword is facing up. I'm going to lean my weight onto the back foot and I'm going to slowly bring it all together. Once, twice, back to Iaigoshi. Let's try this 2 times all together. Here we go. You ready? So this is Iwakazushi Ippome, number 1. Ready? Hajime. Good. Here we go. One more time, all together. So remember, the key is don't bring the sword behind you and cut. Everything is moving forward and out. You ready? Here we go. Seiza. Hajime. So we don't have a lot of time, but today, instead of calling people, this is the exercise I want you to practice. Just from a standing position, not in seiza, practice the sword coming up, rolling your fingers, cutting kesagiri, bring it to your shoulder and stepping out, ichimonji. So the key on this is to draw forward and out, and everything happens forward. Try not to bring the sword behind you. And this is what I mean by that. If I bring the sword up and I bring the sword behind my head and then cut, what happens is I can shave my ear off at the top of my head, which is no good. So everything is moving forward and out, okay? So try that a couple of times, okay? So you can put the sword away. Yo, roll your fingers forward, cutting kesagiri, bring it to your shoulder, and then stepping out with your left foot, ichimonji. Good. Try again. And this is considered to be, even though it's two cuts, it's really considered one cut. It does not stop. So it's not 1, 2, it should be considered one continuous cut. So one cut, okay? All right, so that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed the class. Again, a big shout out to our new patron, Trevor Haynes from Tennessee, from Chattanooga. So welcome, Trevor. We're looking forward to training with you. And hopefully you'll be able to make some classes, online classes soon. Everybody else is doing so great. Thank you for your support. Everybody in Ukraine, we're still really thinking about you. We're still trying to sell t-shirts and raise money as best we can. So, you know, I've been hearing good news, which is, you know, politics aside, that the Russians are being pushed back, and hopefully things will return to semi-normal sooner than later. And then Oleg, I really love the photograph of Pascal Krieger sensei, who's getting very old now, but he's fantastic. He's such an awesome sensei. So, all right, thank you guys. Let's ray out and we'll have a good weekend, the rest of the weekend. I'm gonna go make some traps tonight. And we'll do standing ray again, okay? Shomini, right? Sensei ni, right? Otagani, right? Arigatou gozaimashita. Tony, right? Thank you guys. We hope you enjoyed the class. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, give us a like. We hope you enjoyed the class. You can train with us online at patreon.com/NYBA. You can see the links in our bio section or about section. And we're a not-for-profit Japanese sports school in New York City, teaching Rushin Shochiryu. So you don't have to live in New York City to train with us. As you can see, we have students from Mexico City, from Ukraine, from New Jersey, from all over. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you again. Hope everyone had a great weekend.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
guys.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a great weekend, guys. Boris, I'll try to call you this week, okay? Cheers, guys. Bye, Zlata.